Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marian and today we have a 24-hour read-a-thon. Woo! So this weekend is a long weekend, so I thought that I would do a little 24-hour read-a-thon. I want to try to finish books that I'm in the middle of. I have a lot of books that I start and then I put down because I'm in the biggest slump I've ever been in my whole life. So I'm gonna walk you through all of the books that I plan on reading in this 24-hour. So the first one is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. A lot of people are rating this 5 stars and like the best book of the year so far for them. For me, I think right now this is a 3 stars. This is a really chunky book and this is dragging on, so I've been like struggling to really like finish this. I'm a little bit over 50% into it. I'm enjoying it. I think this is hitting like a slump, so I want to try to finish this during this readathon. The second one is The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. I think like 20 to 30% into it. I'm really enjoying it. I'm listening to it as an audiobook and I love it. I really love the narrator. So I am really enjoying this. So this weekend I want to try to finish listening to it while doing some chores around the house. Next one we have is Sword of Kagan by ML Wong. I was obsessed with this story. I started it I think over 2 years ago and I never finished it. I got into a huge slump and I could never pick it up. As you see, I'm like barely into it. I think on my Kindle I'm like maybe 20% into it. I don't know. But that's one thing I want to try to pick back up. If I can't finish it in this 24-hour readathon, I want to at least pick it back up so that it can put me back into like the mood, you know? Then we have Magnolia Parks. This is the first book in the Magnolia Park series by Jessa Hastings, and I'm enjoying it so far. I feel like it's a fun little read. It's a very toxic relationship, but it's also all about character development instead of like story focused, story driven. It's more character driven. It's a bit of a change because I'm usually one for like more like fantasy novels and like character driven story driven stories, or like plot driven stories instead of character ones. So this is a bit of a change for me. This is also a romance. I don't read a lot of romance, but I'm enjoying it. I feel like I need to push through the last like 40% I have left of it. Okay, the last one is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. This is a cozy fantasy. I'm not really into cozy fantasy, but for some reason this really like spoke to me when I read the blurb. And I thought that that was gonna be super sweet, super cute. So I picked it up. I'm 25% into it. I just want to finish it. So I think we'll start with this one and see how long it takes us to finish it. So let's do it. Put on my headphones. So now I am gonna put some brown noise on. We're gonna do this one. There we go. And we're gonna start reading The Spell Shop. Let's get to it. Hi everyone, I thought I would do a little check-in. I've been reading for 2 hours and I am now 62% into The Spell Shop and I am loving this. I really thought that I wasn't a like cozy fantasy reader, but I'm obsessed with this. This is so cute, okay? So if you don't know what this is, The Spell Shop is about our protagonist Keela and her speaking plant. So her plant is sentient. Yes, she speaks. He speaks. Excuse me. The plant is sentient, so her plant can speak, and she's a librarian at the Empire's Library, the Great Library. And at the beginning of the book, the library is being burned down because there are rebels rebelling against the emperor and literally killing him. So the whole city is on fire, and she packs a bunch of the library books that she can, as many as she can, into her boat, and she goes and sails back to the island that she originated from. And so once she gets there, she finds that her parents still have all of their old things in a cottage that they used to own. And so now it's her cottage before they all went to like the big city. And so she's gonna make that cottage a spell shop. That's the name. But magic is forbidden to be wielded by anybody else other than like specific sorcerers that are like appointed by the emperor. And so she's not allowed to use any of the magic. Her idea is to create basically jam to hide the spells that she's selling. So she creates a jam shop, which is adorable, super cozy, super cozy. She has her mom's recipe, so you see her like cook and you see her clean and make the cottage livable again. And then you see her, she's very introverted, and so she has a lot of trouble talking with people. She prefers books. So you see her opening up to the villagers in town and starting to make friends. And there's a little romance in there too that's adorable and so freaking cute. I am obsessed with this book. I really didn't think I was gonna love it because I was already like 30% into it, almost 30% into it, and it felt very slow and it felt like it was dragging on a little bit, so I was gonna DNF it. But then I told myself to continue at least until 50%, and now I'm loving it. I think it's because now we see more of the spells and like the magic and the magic system, which is what really interests me in fantasy. And so I think that's why it grasped my attention at that particular moment. Is like around 30 to 40% mark is when she starts, you see more of the magic and she starts using spells and stuff like that. So 50% is when the romance starts bubbling up a little bit, and so I thought that that was really, really cute and really exciting. So I'm really excited to finish this book and to see how it wraps up. We have a new character that just came in at 60%. That I don't know how to feel about her. I have my doubts. I don't know how it's going to evolve and how it's going to wrap up, but it's cozy fantasy, so there can't be a lot of high stakes. So yeah, we'll see. But I'm really, really enjoying it. I will do another check-in once I'm done with the book, and I'll let you know all my thoughts on it once I'm finished with it. Hopefully it'll take me another 2 hours, we'll see, but for you guys it'll be a minute. Hi guys, so I wanted to give you a little update. I finally finished The Spell Shop after 4 hours and 20 minutes of reading, and it was incredible. It was incredible. I loved it so much. I think this is my very first cozy fantasy that I loved. I don't think I've loved any other cozy fantasy like this. I absolutely loved it. It was a fantastic book. I'm not usually into cozy fantasy because usually in cozy fantasy it feels like the stakes are usually really low, but when there is an antagonist that shows up, usually it feels like it's solved too easily for me. It's like, okay, like that was an easy solve, which is good for cozy fantasy, but I feel like sometimes it's too easy of a solve, and like sometimes it's like, okay, like there should be something else happening there. Sometimes I'm like, that was too easy, like I don't understand this. That's what I loved about the spell shop, is that it was really cozy while still having some antagonists and some plot elements that were challenging for a main character. and it wasn't just solved with like one easy quick fix. Like she had to work through the problem to find a solution to solve it. So I loved that. The beginning was a bit slow for me, and I was getting a bit annoyed because in the beginning the author wants to emphasize that our main character has blue hair and has blue skin, basically. And so every time she is described or she's addressed or like she does something, like there's like, oh, the wind blew in her blue hair or something like that. And I was kind of getting annoyed at that. I was like, how many times can I know that, like, how many times do you have to describe her with blue hair? Like, I got it. Like, she has blue hair. Next, in my 24-hour read-a-thon, I want to try to go play The Sims a little bit or play some video games. So I'm going to listen to The Jasmine Throne while I'll do that. I love the audiobook for that one, so I want to continue listening to it. I'm listening to it at like 1.7 speed, so yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I'll check in with you guys when I'm around 50% and I'll let you know how I'm enjoying this. Okay guys, time for an update on my 24-hour read-a-thon. I listened to, I think, about an hour of The Jasmine Throne, and I was really into it, okay? I really loved it in the beginning. I really wanted to know more about our main character, Priya, and then our other main character, Milani. And I really wanted to, like, for them to meet and, like, see how how the story was going to develop. But now, I'm bored. I feel really bored. Like, something that happens where our main character, Priya, discovers something, and I really thought that, like, she would be shocked and she would be like taken aback, and like it would be like, I can't really say because it's a spoiler, so I don't want to spoil, but I really thought she was gonna react another way and it would be more emotional and we would see more emotional turmoil within her, but we didn't, and it kind of like threw me off. And then, like, I don't know, I feel like I'm not as invested in the characters and as I thought I would be. And I'm now like 300 pages into it almost. And I think I'm gonna DNF this because I just don't really like it. I don't really like the story. There's too many point of views. We flip each chapter to like a different person. Like there's people that we've met in other POVs that now have their own POVs, and I'm like, this is too much. Like I don't remember the names of everybody. So now I'm being like put into their point of view, and I don't even remember who they are. I don't even know who they are. So it gets like really confusing. And it gets frustrating because like I wish this book were written with just the POVs of like Priya and Milani. Like I feel like those two would have been enough and it would have like gotten a great story out of it. But in here we have like 5 or 6 point of views of like different random people, and I'm like, I literally do not care. I do not care. So unfortunately, this is going to be a DNF for me for this 24-hour readathon. And we're only like a couple hours into the readathon too. Okay, we can't get into another slump, so I need to DNF this one. So the next one we're going to pick up for this readathon is going to be The Sword of Kagan. I feel like this one is the one that I'm the most excited about to read, so I want to pick this one up. We have, I believe, 16 hours left in our readathon, so hopefully in 16 hours I can finish this. I hope. I'm only 30% into it, not even that. Like, I'm at 100 pages. I'm 100 pages into this. Ooh, knocked my glasses off. I'm 100 pages into this, and I started this like 2 years ago, and then I put it down because I've been in the biggest reading slump ever in my whole life. I don't think I've been in such a reading slump ever. So this is the next one we're gonna pick up. We're gonna pick up The Sword of Kagan. Guys updated once I make it to 50%, and then once I finish it, I'll give you guys my review, my rating, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Hi y'all, I wanted to do a little update on my 24-hour reading challenge. So there was a change of plan. I didn't end up continuing The Sword of Kagan. Instead, I ended up finishing Magnolia Parks. So I finished the first book. I had a couple of pages left, so I finished it in about an hour. So at this point, we're at 16 hours left. So I read this in about an hour, and I absolutely loved it. I am obsessed with this. I could not stand either of those main characters in the beginning, but then as the series continued, I started really liking them. I still can't really stand Magnolia. She pisses me off a little bit, but I'm starting to really like BJ a lot. So I gave this a 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I loved it so much that I ended up picking up Daisy Hates. So it's the second book in the Magnolia Parks universe. I am obsessed with this book. This was a 5 stars. I'm obsessed with Daisy and Christian. I need more of this. I absolutely am in love with their relationship, with their dynamic, and I love Daisy. She doesn't get shit from anybody. Like, she's like so badass. I love her. So if you don't know, each of the series goes into relationships for 1 Magnolia and 2 Daisy. And they're all in the same kind of friend group-ish. And it's just so, it's really toxic, but it's really good to read. It's such a great pastime. I'm obsessed with it. So I finished Daisy Hates in about 5 hours. So at this point, we are 11 hours left. So I read this, obsessed with it. Yeah, I highly recommend it. I recommend the series for now just to get to this book, just to read Daisy Hates stories. Because, like, if you love badass women, if you love fantasy women, women who just like exude power and don't take shit from nobody, you need to read Daisy Hates. This is contemporary, and I don't usually like contemporary romance or contemporary books in general, but this, I ate it up. I could not put it down. I finished it in 1 day. I read it the whole day. I could not put this down. And so after that, I started the 3rd book in the series, which is Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home. I read, I want to say 20% of it. I read this in about like, I want to say an hour. How much is this? Yeah, about 100 pages. So I read this in about an hour and a half. So at this point, we're about 9 hours left in the challenge. But I put this down because I just love Daisy so much. I just want to go read about Daisy. Magnolia is pissing me off in this. I love BJ in this. BJ has such a great character development in this one. I'm really shocked. I used to hate him, now I kind of love him. But Magnolia still hasn't had this, like, wake you up kind of story arc, so we'll see. But I ended up putting this down to read one of my most anticipated reads of the year, which is Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. I loved this book. This was also a 5 star for me, which is like really random. Having 2 5 stars in a row is not really known for me. So this was really fun. This follows, so this is the 2nd book in a series. What series is this called? I don't know, doesn't have a name, but the first one is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. It follows Ford and Rosie, and this one follows Rosie's brother, Weston, and our main love interest, Skylar. I could not remember for a minute. And basically it's the story how Weston has 2 kids, he's divorced, and he owns a ranch, so he's a trainer for horses, and he has a bunch of other animals. And then Skylar is a star, she sings and she performs, and she's gonna go find Ford to try to record albums, and then she ends up meeting Weston when she's trying to pet a grizzly bear. She's crazy. This is all in the beginning. So this is really fun. This is a really, really fun story. I absolutely adore the way Elsie writes characters. The characters have so much depth, and it's such a fast-paced story as well. So sometimes I feel like some characters you can get too lost in their head and the story doesn't advance, you know, and move forward, but this is not the case at all. The story moves really fast paced and you end up falling in love with the characters, falling in love with their relationship. The kids in there, I usually don't really like kids in stories because they're not really well written, but the kids felt like kids in here, and they felt like so joyful and so hopeful, and it gave me back like the love that I had for life, really. Like, oh my god, I just enjoyed this so much. I cannot wait for the next one to come out. I'm so attached to this world and to these characters. Like, I am obsessed. So far, this series is a 5 stars because I gave the first book a 5 stars as well. So I highly, highly, highly recommend you going to read this because absolutely amazing. I read this in also about 5 hours. So at this point, we only have about 5 to 6 hours left. So I'm gonna go finish this one. Hopefully I can finish it in this time frame. But we're about to go finish this. It's Sunday, so hopefully I can finish this today with some snacks, and we'll see how I like it. So let's go. I'll come check back on you guys, give you an update when I'm halfway through. So yeah, let's do it. Hi guys, we're changing a little bit of the seating. I'm seated in my little corner, reading corner, for this update. So this is the last update of my 24-hour read-a-thon. And in the last 5 hours, I read and finished the Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home. And I really enjoyed this one. I think I'm giving this one maybe a 3.75 to 4 stars. I think I'm getting a little bit tired of the series because I keep like reading them back to back to back to back. So I think I need something to go into, like a little refresher outside of this. So maybe I'll read another fantasy or another romance. We'll see. That has nothing to do with this. But this one, things tie back together finally, and I love to see that. Like, I've loved to see how things come together. That felt really good. But the ending is heartbreaking. Like, it's heart-wrenching. That's one thing that Jessa Hastings does very, very well, is heartbreaking endings. Like, endings you've never seen coming. Endings you never saw coming. So I'll give her that. Like, what an ending. That was insane. So I enjoyed it. I think it might be so far my favorite of the series. But Daisy Hates literally has my heart. I think Daisy Hates has my heart. But from the Magnolia sub-series, I think this one is my favorite. The one problem that I have with the Magnolia side of the series is that we don't really see Magnolia outside of the aspect of the relationship. We don't know really who she is outside of the relationship because we only see her think about BJ and we only see BJ think about her. And so we don't see her outside of the eye of a man, and that's really sad. I think that's one thing I think is a weakness of this side of the series, because in Daisy Hates, we see who Daisy is outside of her relationship with Christian. So we see how strong of a woman she is. We see how she makes her decisions and all of that. Whereas I think in Magnolia, she's only ever thinking about BJ and not really making any decisions outside of that. All of her decisions are guided by BJ and her love for him, which I think that's one thing that holds me back from this series of liking really the characters and like getting into them fully. But that was a fun little read for the last leg of my read-a-thon. And yeah, next I'll continue on with the series, but probably later. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being with me on this 24-hour read-a-thon. I'm sorry I haven't really taken any B-side roles. I'm still new to doing this and doing these vlogs, but this was really fun, really, really exciting. I really want to do another 24-hour read-a-thon because that was really fun. Maybe I'll do a read-a-thon with my 10 before the end of the year, so we'll see. But that was really fun. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little 24-hour read-a-thon, and I'll see you guys in the new video soon. Bye!